Welcome, 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 everyone, to our session, Scaling Your Reach with Advanced Advertising Solutions. My name is Shekhar Reddy. I lead the Strategic Technology Partner team with Amazon Advertising. My team is focused on helping partners grow and develop their business, and also help them create value for Amazon advertisers. Now, imagine you're embarking on a road trip. You're going to a destination that you've never been to before, and you're very excited about this place, and you have a whole bunch of fun things planned to do when you get there. And you're using your maps on your phone to help you drive there. Now, what if this Maps app stops working? You might hit a dead end. You might get stuck in traffic for hours. Or you might not know which way to turn and end up on a windy, unfamiliar road, and it's a very uncomfortable feeling. You're second-guessing your driving capabilities, and honestly, none of us want to be there. We'd rather get to the place and do the things that we want to do. Now, picture this. You're cruising down the highway with the fully functional maps on your phone, and it's giving you real-time signals, the best route to take, how to avoid traffic, stay away from construction, and even find a spot to grab a snack and take a break. Now, the journey is enjoyable. You're confident in your driving skills, and you're just focused on the place that you want to get to. Amazon Advertising Solutions and partners are that Maps app on your phone. Without them, navigating the complex landscape of customer behavior, sales insights, and market trends is really, really difficult. Just like how Maps will help you stay clear of traffic and construction, advertising tools and partners can help you optimize your campaigns, can help you reach your audience more precisely, and really elevate your advertising efforts. In the next 45 minutes, we will dive deep into the world of advertising tools, which is so critical in the ever-evolving digital retail landscape. We'll be dissecting a case study with one of the advanced Amazon partners, Quartile, and an Amazon seller, California Design Den. We'll be hearing firsthand from Quartile how to obtain rich insights from various Amazon tools and apply them into your advertising efforts. And finally, we will take away some actionable insights that we can incorporate as learnings and really elevate our advertising efforts. Now, before we continue, I do have a reminder that at the end of this session, we will host a Q&A. And to submit the questions, you will need to use your in-app QR code scanner, or you can scan this code. You can select Q&A from the panel on the right side, and you should be able to submit your question. Now, without further ado, please join me in welcoming our two distinguished guests, Deepak Mehrotra, who's the CEO of California Design Den, and Sylvia Lindenberg, who's the co-founder and CMO of Quartile.
Hi, Shekhar.
Please have a seat, guys.
All right.
I'm excited for this session.
Same here.
Are you guys having a good week?
Absolutely.
All right. Let's do some introductions, shall we?
Yes.
Deepak, let's start with you. Tell us a little bit more about you and your company.
Sure. I'm Deepak Mehrotra, founder of California Design Den. Our business journey started almost 2 decades back, making private label bed linens, fine cotton bed linens for retailers in US and Canada. And in 2017, we launched our own label, California Design Den. And so this whole leap of going online and let's also try to sell online was, where it all started. So we specialize in natural, sustainable linen, and we launched with one of our products in 2017, got tons of good and bad customer reviews. Being a manufacturer, knowing the product, we were able to quickly improve on products and then slow and steady launch more product lines on Amazon US. Later, we have expanded to Amazon Canada, UK, Germany, and Japan. It's been a great journey for us working with Amazon, and quite happy to be here and share our journey. Yeah.
Awesome. So you started as a private label manufacturer, and you're a global direct-to-consumer brand now? Wow. Now, I would imagine there are a lot of people in the crowd today who want to share that dream with you. Silvio, can you tell us more about Quartile and your journey, please?
Absolutely, yeah. Thanks for having me. My name is Silvio Lindenberg. I am Quartile's co-founder and CMO. Quartile is an AI-driven media platform. So we have more than 5,000 clients. We're managing more than $2 billion in ad spend with clients in 32 markets. And our ads connected to Amazon serves ads in 26 countries. So happy to discuss this strategy and other strategies later on.
5,000 brands, that's a lot. And you also mentioned you're across so many different markets and so many different industries as well.
Correct.
That's very impressive. And the fact that you help both individual sellers and enterprise brands, I think that speaks a lot to your ability to understand your customers. Now, Deepak, so how did you find Silvio? Like, what's the background here? How did you both meet, and what made you choose Quartile as somebody who can help you?
Sure. We met Quartile last year at the Accelerate. Here.
Okay.
Accelerate September. And so in 2022, our business was kind of stagnant. With COVID, everyone was staying at home and buying a lot of bed sheets. So that was, how to say, a good thing for us. But in 2022, we got a little stagnant. 2023, we started to lose a bit of market share. Now, if you just step back and look at the products we make, which is cotton bed linen, US consumers, 70% of them prefer cotton as the material of choice while buying a bed sheet. But if you go on Amazon.com, most of the top sellers and top keywords, you're going to find synthetic microfiber. A cheaper product, the history on the platform, tons of reviews and what have you. So combine all that, we kind of knew that we had to do something about our visibility. Only 5% of the consumers in the aisle were actually aware of our brand. So that was the thing. We met Quartile and other service providers at Accelerate last year. We have, over like 55 parent ASINs, 1,600 child ASINs, tons of, campaigns and, budgets and biddings and all that stuff to manage. So with Quartile, we kind of discussed how they can manage all this, and we heard some good things, such as how granular they get, the use of AMC, and how the hourly bidding helps, and what have you. And we said, hey, if you can pull it off, that'll be awesome. So that's how we started with Quartile March of this year.
I love this story. This is like an Amazon Accelerate love story. So you both actually met here, and within a year, here on stage and developing the coolest strategies. I really hope anyone who's watching here is thinking, how can I be on stage next year? It's very much possible. It's not just Quartile. We have a plethora of so many technology partners out there. So please try to reach out and see what partner is the right fit for you. And so Silvio, I want to understand, so Deepak comes to you with this really complex problem, and how do you go about it?
Yeah, there's a part that he haven't mentioned, is that we met here in September. It took us 6 months to start working together because he was a little bit skeptical, as most of you might be. It's like each business is a different business. But one thing that caught our attention is that usually when partners, they come to us, they have a certain pattern on their campaign structure, which ranges between 30 to 50 campaigns. Their case is completely different. They had more than 1,000 campaigns on their campaign manager. Some of those were well-structured. Some of those, they had already negative targets. Some of those had some conflicting objectives as well. But usually when clients come and they have a not well-established campaign structure, it's very often that we recommend our clients to relaunch the campaigns. And we're going to be talking a lot about structure of the campaigns. And if you allow me to make an analogy, it's almost like building a house, right? How can you grow your house? How can you grow or build on top of something that you don't have strong foundations? That was the first part that we started to analyze, and that was the starting point of our working together.
So in the question of AI tools and Amazon's advanced tools, so we have several tools such as Stream and AMC, et cetera. How are you, if that, using those tools in campaign optimizations?
Yeah. So again, let's go back to that analogy of the foundations, right? When we start to build a plan for a client that is sophisticated like this, they're not just starting, right? But can be any client. The first thing that we need to do is to decide where we want to get. I really like your analogy of the maps on your phone, because the first thing you need is to know where you're going.
Yeah.
Once you know where you're going, then the tool can help you to set more specific goals. And that was our first approach, is to understand that their different products would need different objectives. Not all products are equal. And we needed to start from there. So if I can give you like a step-by-step, the first thing we did was to connect Amazon's APIs. Then we started to understand, to get additional analytics on the products, historical information. That was fundamental for our plan moving forward. The second step is to get more data on an hourly basis, right? Fluctuations throughout the day, throughout different days of the week, and so on. The next stage is the growing stage that we discussed before. And DSP was a critical part of that. If we want to have like a full funnel approach, we need to see where we're going to scale after. So this was our playbook for them.
Yeah, I love how you detail those key steps, because I think the emphasis for me at least is the fact that it's a full funnel effort, and that's really the crucial part. So Deepak, how did this all translate into results for you?
So we started in March of this year, so the first month, setup and what have you, and things started to kick in really good. April, we had around 232% year over year.
Wow.
May, 80%, and in July, which is Prime Day, we almost doubled, which was around 92%, with a better ROAS than we had in previous years, with a much larger ad spend and what have you.
Wow. Yeah. So the first time you try a partner and you're already doubling your sales, that's impressive. Mm-hmm. Now, let me double click on that, because it's one thing, and it's an amazing thing to drive results, because that's the whole point of it. But I'm curious to know if this collaboration with Quartile elevated your understanding of Amazon advertising tools. Did your team get any smarter on a day-to-day basis?
So, as Silvio was saying, we were not new, so we kind of knew all the ad types. We were using most of the ad types, whether it was sponsored product or brand and DSP and what have you. I think fundamentally one challenge that we had was we always looked at advertisements spend as an expense, right? Not as something to draw in the customer, right? And then while we were doing most of these ads, they were all in silos. So it wasn't like a cohesive strategy. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't like a full funnel strategy, if I may use that word, right? We always imagined that, hey, bed sheets, only when people want it, they click on it, and otherwise they don't need it.
Right.
But there's still a journey for that. And that, I think, with Quartile, that strategy was put in place, the mix of ad spends, the right amount of budgets, and again, we have tremendous amount of parents in different product categories within bedding. So, yeah.
And if you allow me to share this with the team, with the audience and food, is that they have a big team behind the scenes, right? They were already using the information that they have available, and they were downloading reports and analyzing the performance by groups of products and profitability. So we had big shoes to fill, coming up with a strategy. But on the other hand, that for us was critical because we already had the data. It was a matter of implementing a plan and trying to escalate on top of that.
Right. I agree. I think it's one thing to have a strong team and infrastructure, which is super essential, but to be able to take the real-time insights and the ability to optimize your campaigns is what really propels the progress forward. Uh, so Sylvia, it's becoming clear to me that the success you've achieved is deeply rooted in your campaign measurement that is powered by Quartile technology, and also you're using smart tools like Stream and AMC. So what were the key strategies that drove those results?
Yeah. I would say that acting on, it's not just one approach, right? Let's think about this as a multi-dimensional optimization. And for us to remember this, I'm going to create an acronym.
Okay.
Keep up, which is keywords, bids, budgets, and placement. Okay? Keywords. We're getting the data from Amazon, directly from the API. So using the information that we get from the search term reports and then incorporating some additional keywords to the campaign was fundamental for us to make sure that we were covering all those search terms in a meaningful way. Bids. We were optimizing the bids using the data from Amazon Marketing Stream, hourly data. So we were taking advantage of peak times of the day and then increasing or decreasing the bids to maximize that opportunity and reducing at lower times, so avoiding ad spend. Budget. We work with Amazon's selling API, which gives us the flexibility to adjust the daily budgets when, let's say, there's a day that for some reason we're getting better results than other days. So we want to maximize that day, but we don't want to overspend by the end of the month, let's say. So Amazon's, that API helped us a lot. And the last part is the placements. Remember, there are different conversion rates in different placements on Amazon, and there's no right or wrong, don't get me wrong. So having a tool that adjusts the bids and the budget based on the placements and the conversion rates was critical for us to deliver that success.
Yeah, I love what you said about Stream. Stream has been such a game changer, right? It offers that insight about how the conversion rates are fluctuating throughout.
Yeah, that's true. And in that case, for their case, we saw that there's a 23% conversion rate fluctuations within a single day. Imagine the same keyword for the same product in that same market changing, varying 23% in one single day. Imagine the compounding effect of that over a week, over a month, over a year. There's a lot of gaining that we can get from there.
I love that insight. Yeah, the 23%, that's pretty heavy. So could you then share why the advanced advertising solutions are so crucial for your strategies?
Yeah, so we're all living in a very competitive landscape, right? And we need to take advantage of the tools that are available to us. Not necessarily the brands that are leading the pack, they have the deepest pockets. It's quite the opposite. Are those that are using that information and taking advantage of that. Amazon has improved significantly their analytics, and those brands that are understanding and are taking advantage of that, they have that first mover advantage.
So now there's this constant campaign management. How does Quartile think about holistic measurement?
Yeah, when we think about optimization, we always have to think about the full funnel, right? We should not always be looking at the lower funnel, which usually is the low-hanging fruits for every seller. So think about what happens at the bottom of the funnel, everything that you can convert with your sponsored products. But also think about what happens above that. And we can activate that with DSP. We can get a lot of insights from AMC. And then we can start scaling. But as we scale throughout the funnel, we also need additional metrics. We need to think beyond the ACoS.
Right.
We need to think about what we can achieve with the middle of the funnel, with other competitors' sales that we're getting. And a recommendation that I will give to the audience is don't focus too much on the ACoS. Think about the other metrics. Think about the initiatives that you're going to be doing with streaming TV, with AMC, DSP, that are going to be building your next sale moving forward. So your brand, think about your performance for your brand, not just for your campaigns.
That's very well said. That's very well said. So now we have a ton of sellers in the audience, and hopefully they are listening to you and going, how can I do this? How can I get started with Stream and AMC and Rapid Retail Analytics, et cetera? So what specific advice would you give them?
All right, that's the fun part. So you get a lot of data from Amazon, right? You start to analyze that data. Let's get a concept from manufacturers. How do manufacturers act? They assign a part of their revenue to an R&D.
Sure.
What if we use that same mindset and we assign part of our investment, our advertising investment? As you said, it's not expense, it's an investment. And we use that for what we could call the advertising R&D.
Right.
So you are assigning, let me give a ballpark figure, 2%, 5%, 10%, depends on your margins or your tolerance for that task. But use that budget to start testing these additional features, these new tools, these new targeting capabilities. Imagine what you can uncover from that. Imagine that the next big audience that you're going to be achieving will come from that. And think about this as a first mover, because there's not a lot of brands doing that. And with that possibility, with that mindset, we will get a lot of things that we can learn.
Right.
But one advice, right? Because this is experimental, right? Some things will go as planned. Some things might not go as planned. But sometimes, even when we miss, we're learning something. And we have ahead of us the Q4 season, right? There's a lot of customers coming to Amazon. That's a perfect time to start experimenting those tools.
Yeah. I really like that analogy, advertising R&D budget, right? Like, I've been to so many meetings just this week and months leading up to this, and the number of times I heard advertising, why should I spend? It's another cost to add. It's another cost to add. So if you're listening, the term is advertising R&D budget. So
Yeah.
we should trademark that.
Let's trademark that. Yeah, I agree with you.
So let's ask you, Deepak. So obviously, you're in safe hands with Silvio, really working hard for you, thinking about advertising R&D, investing in the future. But what are you thinking about the, let's say, next 6 months or so?
Sure. Q4 always is a challenge, right? So it's been a very strong start,
Yeah.
right? Because as Silvio was earlier saying, we're already running very, very fast. We had tons of campaigns and what have you. So the transition with their team, we worked very closely, so all that went smoothly. In the initial months, the expectations were set right to do the R&D, right? So we did spend some money, but we got tons of learning as a team and in the tool as well. And now we have a stable ACoS, stable TACoS, if we may. We have seen some really good growth numbers that continue. We are, last year we were so focused on, ACoS, and we saw our new to brand customers slide down, which has a trailing effect on how the business then does not grow.
Right.
So we have seen better new to brand numbers and what have you. So now using this full funnel approach, continuing to, invest in some new ideas, some new trends as a part of a budget. We want to continue with this growth path. We feel that there is a lot of room for us to grow. We still lead the category if you just look
Right.
at cotton as a material, but
You're not getting
US is a big
complacent
market.
anytime soon.
No, not at all.
I love that you have a strong foundation, but you're still thinking ahead of time because you have those 100% year-on-year growth numbers in year one,
Right.
but year two comes along,
Right.
you've got to have those plans ahead of time. I really love that. Silvia, what about you? You've clearly laid out a strong groundwork for California Design Den. They are in safe hands. So what are you planning specifically for them or generally about what's next for Cortana?
We are particularly excited about what we can do with AMC. As most of you, we need to find avenues for growth. It's a competitive landscape. It's not easy. But with the data that we get, I think we can explore different approaches. There's one in particular that really excites me, which is using AMC to understand customer profiles. So we're building personas that we can start activating on the upper funnel. So we're taking that approach of the advertising R&D into practice, and we're testing these new customers that we will be reaching. Think about what we can do with that, because not only we are driving the targeting, but we are also getting to understand what are the motivations. So we can work together with your creative team to craft a message that will resonate with that audience. And one thing that it's important to mention that I probably forgot to mention before is that when you are investing in this full funnel, because you are selling more, you are naturally indexing your products higher on the rankings, which brings you additional organic sales. So it's a feedback loop that reinforces itself. As you sell more, you get more organic sales. So when you migrate from that mindset of just looking at ACoS and focus on your brand, you are growing your overall brand value, but your overall sales as well.
True. I mean, for us, I know it's kind of a repeat, but just focusing on ACoS wasn't going to really help us. So focusing on the tacos that you were just saying, that kind of gave us the indication that, okay, the overall business is growing, so we could then continue to invest, aggressively in gaining visibility, and thereby, of course, gaining on keywords and what have you. And with so much rich data that we have, search query and brand analytics, all that combined in, our teams is able to
Yeah, that DSP strategy that we had, in which we're not just working on the remarketing of the campaign, which would be the natural lower funnel approach, but we're using AMC for reaching completely new audience for the brand. New movers or wedding registries. Those are easily available audiences that we can explore, and you never know what you can get from that.
True.
I mean, you guys have done such an incredible job of not only using the complete suite of products that we have to offer, but the level of detail that you've gone, the depth to which you're drawing insights from AMC, that point that you made about building audiences. I think that's truly remarkable, and thank you so much for sharing this really exciting story. Like, I, for one, enjoyed it a lot, and hopefully the audience really appreciates as well. Just for the benefit of audience, let's try to recap and so that we have some good takeaways, shall we? So first and foremost, what I'm hearing is you got to adopt a holistic, omni-channel advertising strategy, right? Successful brands on Amazon are leveraging our complete suite of products, sponsored ads to DSP, to AMC, to streaming television, so that you can reach the customers across the full purchase funnel, right? Next, you really have to embrace this data-driven dynamic optimization model, right? We have these amazing tools which are giving you a ton of signals, real-time signals. How do you take these signals and use them to optimize? And also, train your campaigns to adapt and reach new audiences. And in the process, really get better efficiency, right? And finally, I really think the concept of advertising R&D was like a big one for me. If you're not investing in a long-term sustainable strategy, you're just playing a game of chicken. Like, what can I do in the next 3 months to get the revenue going? How can I fine-tune my traffic? But if you are in it for the long run, like a year from now, you want to be sitting on the stage and thinking about getting new customers, getting repeat customers, you have to invest in an R&D budget, which will allow you to experiment with new strategy, try new tactics, maybe experiment with new set of creative, perhaps, and figure out a way to go after a different set of audiences.
And again, it's available to anyone, right?
Right.
You can start experimenting a completely new channel like streaming TV or audio ads, assigning a small budget at the beginning and learning from there.